Cd28 Life Coaching with Parrot. The Sacred Counsel, 28 out of 32. The Guiding Force of Parrot. Parrot, the guiding force of repetition. Using the ability to repeat for the right reason and right purpose. I am the Divana Parrot, one of the 17 balancing forces of universe and nature, representing the fact that everything you think, say and do, the way you dress, act and react, and all your worldly skills are trained and conditioned through repetition. Quote, "Every man is the son of his own works." Miguel de Cervantes. End of quote. I play a very important part in Crystallia and in the adventure of your life. You know me very well, because you are all busy with me all day long. You are learning new things through repeating them. Either this is at your home, at work, in sports, or other skills you are training yourself in. You are also busy with me by repeating the same things over and over again. And this is from the way you think about yourself, others, and the world, to the tastes you have developed, the way you speak, walk, act, and react. This doesn't only include the positive, but also the negative conditionings and habits you have repeated over and over again. Many of these conditionings are so often repeated that they are so dominant that they completely rule your life. Quote, "Our life always expresses the result of our dominant thoughts." Soren Kierkegaard. End of quote. You talk so much about freedom and free will in your world, but your thinking, actions, reactions, tastes, and emotions are completely conditioned. Anything is already based on your conditioning. Yes, even the choices you think you make. You are like a parrot, but not even a parrot in the jungle, but one in a cage, built by yourself. Quote, "Do you call yourself free? I want to hear your ruling idea, and not that you have escaped from a joke. Free from what? Zarathustra does not care about that. But your eye should be clearly tell me, free for what?" Friedrich Nietzsche. End of quote. Call it a parrot or a programmed robot. As long as you are connected to your mind, you are connected to the endless conditioned programs within it. Remember that once you were a pure soul, which took on a communication device, the mind, and a body to explore the creation. Your mind was directed by your soul, but unfortunately the mind, under the dictates of your sense organs, took over the adventure. Quote, "The ego has convinced us that we need it. Not only that we need it, but that we are it. I am my body. I am my personality. I am a neurosis. I am angry. I am depressed. I am a good person. I am sincere. I seek truth. I'm a lazy slob." Definition after definition, room after room. Ram Dass. End of quote. Your life was meant to be an adventure of an ongoing experience of new things to be experienced. But by using the power of repetition, you have created endless patterns that now dominate your life and restricting you in experiencing the new. You live with a false security, and when you look at the advertisements in your world, you know exactly what I mean. The lives you live are not adventurous, but controlled by many false securities. Break away from these patterns that take away your adventure. Quote, "I see my path, but I don't know where it leads. Not knowing where I'm going is what inspires me to travel it." Rosalia de Castro. End of quote. In order to let the soul become in charge of the adventure again, you need to become the manager of the mind. It needs to be trained in repeating something that is not from this world, but from the realm of the soul. Detachment will not work. Only by attaching it to something that is far more attractive than anything of the world will do that. Meditation and silent prayer are the road. Quote, but just as other habits are created by practice and perseverance, the mind also is to be put into the new channel by love and faith and perseverance. Maharaj Sawan Singh, end of quote. Know that the power of repetition can also be used to your advantage in order to free yourself from the robot. Look for a teacher or master who has accomplished this mission. Quote, the strongest warrior is he who conquers himself. Aztec saying, end of quote. Parrot. Knowing me and knowing what to do with me. Let's see how you unnecessarily struggle with my force in various aspects of your life. How you could change your perspective and even make some practical changes. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject. And each subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives and angles. Most important is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth and not the truth. Because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world, created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always more than can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is from our particular point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. But hopefully it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical and magical way. By hearing and reading this information, you will come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do. Because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently, or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. Dealing with your real self, the soul. In regards to spiritual living, know that through the repetition of your silent prayer, you avoid the repetition of worldly things. This prayer is the energy of the life-creating and life-sustaining energy itself, and has nothing to do with any of your wishes. Basically, you use the mind capacity of repetition for your spiritual practice, and while doing this, the mind will be occupied and not pulling your energies down and out into the world. Quote, but just as other habits are created by practice and perseverance, the mind also is to be put into the new channel by love and faith and perseverance. Maharaj Sawan Singh, end of quote. It is through the repetition of your silent prayer that you gather all the scattered energies and go in and up inside and beyond the realm of mind and matter. After some time, you will understand that this prayer was already inside you and that you are just tuning into it. Dealing with your mind. In regards to managing and dealing with the mind, know that the capacity of repetition is there to help you in acquiring your basic skills in order to proper function in the world you are visiting. You are busy with this capacity all day long. You are learning new things through repeating them. Either this is at your home, your work, in sports, or in other skills you are training yourself into. You are also busy with repeating the same things over and over again, and this is from the way you think about yourself, others, and the world, to the tastes you have developed and the way you speak, walk, act, and react. This doesn't only include the positive, but also the negative conditionings and habits you have repeated over and over again. You talk so much about freedom and free will in your world by your thinking, but your thinking, your actions, reactions, tastes, and emotions are completely conditioned. Anything is already based on your conditionings, yes, even the choices you think you make. You are like a parrot, not even a parrot in the jungle, but one in a cage built by yourself. Your life was meant to be an adventure, of an ongoing experience of new things, but by using the power of repetition, you have created endless patterns that now dominate your life and restricting you in experiencing the new. So break away from these patterns that take away your adventure. Quote, pray till prayer makes you forget your own wish and leave it or merge it into God's will. Frederick W. Robertson. End of quote. Dealing with your body. In regards to dealing with your physical body, know that many skills can be achieved through repetition, and that you came with a certain type of body into this world, but through exercising it through certain foods, physical and mental activities, the body shapes itself. The unhealthy foods, which are very cheap and harmful fuel for your body, will show on the inside and on the outside of your body. And when you cannot see this, you probably will never experience the body full of energy, vitality, and health. You expose your body to a certain sport activity every day, and your body will shape itself by accomplishing those movements related to that sport. Realize, however, that all you think, eat, and do shapes also your physical body. Quote, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but an habit. Aristotle. End of quote. Dealing with communication. In regards to communication, know that through repetition you learn the skill of your language. Know also that your positive and negative ways of speaking are trained through repetition. Realize that you can unlearn and train new ways of communicating through the capacity of repetition. By repeating yourself too often, the power of words often diminish. Dealing with food. In regards to dealing with nutrition, do you realize that repeating the same food patterns for years has actually become an addiction? It is an easy test. When you can easily change and eat different, you are not addicted, otherwise you are. Most modern eating habits do not bring health, but bring stagnancy in your body and your life, which is actually meant to be an adventure, to eat according to the seasons, your environment, and your specific needs. Just think about fitness for a moment. How can your body get proper stimulated when you do all the time the same routine? It is the same with food. The capacity of repetition is meant to learn the basic things of life, such as talking, walking, dressing yourself up, body care, and learning some other basic skills such as reading, writing, counting, and knowing about the things of the world. Unfortunately, you use this capacity also to condition bad language, strange behaviors, and forming addictions, including food addictions. When you are busy with anyway, just start repeating some more healthy food patterns. And when they become dominant, they will push the old habits and conditionings in the background into a dormant state. Know as well that there are also endless positive rituals from the past that bring you to eating more calmly and honoring the food that will nourish you. Realize also that being trapped in eating just fast and unhealthy foods puts you in a health danger zone with all its consequences. It is time to make some changes. Or are you enjoying good health and vitality? Quote, thinking is easy, acting is difficult, and to put one's thoughts into action is the most difficult thing in the world. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. End of quote. Dealing with staying fit. In regards to fitness, know that the capacity of repetition is meant to condition new skills and exercises, but as soon as you are familiar with them, you need to playfully integrate them in your ever-changing workouts. When you are confronted with outdated workouts, just create new ones and repeat them until they are dominant and making the old ones go in the background. It is the same with your motivation. Just start working out with a new vision, and in time that will be your reality. Look at the zest of a child that plays with imagination, joy, and without expectations. Quote, imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Albert Einstein. End of quote. Dealing with your life partner. In regards to your relationship, know that the reality you live in right now is created through repetitions, and the dominant ones are ruling your life. Also know that you can repeat new realities, which is done through the repetition of different ones that range from your thoughts, attitude, communication, and to doing things. The old realities will never be gone, but they can stop dominating when the new ones start dominating. When you look back to your parents, and this is not to judge them, you can see that you are repeating many things in the same way. Just start repeating different things and experience life and your relationship differently. You either repeat the same scenarios and interrelationships with your partner or do the extreme opposite, which actually is the same. When you know that all is based through repetition, look for teachers, guides, and schools that can give you a different and more positive reality, and start repeating and living it. However, never condemn the past, for it all had a purpose and reason. Use the past as books for reference, but do not read them anymore. Quote, there are no failures, just experiences and your reactions to them. Tom Krause. End of quote. Dealing with your children. In regards to parenting, be very careful to exceed the power of repetition that is needed to learn skills to other areas in life, because most repetitions will become the boring routines and unhealthy and destructive habits of life. Quote, children are living beings, more living than grown-up people, who have built shells of habit around themselves. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary for their mental health and development that they should not have mere schools for their lessons, but a world whose guiding spirit is personal love. Rabindranath Tagore. End of quote. Children are in need of help in order to attain certain skills, so they are able to slowly take care of themselves, but never forget that the blueprint of all these skills are already inside them. Parents and other teachers just provide the circumstances, show to be examples, and assist only there when needed. Are you trying to train your children like they trained you, or the extreme opposite way? Realize that repeating the same methods as your parents did, or just doing the extreme opposite, is actually the same and not giving your children a new adventure. There are many ways to guide your children, and when you want this, look for teachers, guides, methods, and schools, or let your children guide you. Quote, if help and salvation are to come, they can only come from the children, for the children are the makers of man. Maria Montessori. End of quote. Dealing with preserving the planet. In regards to taking care of the planet Earth, man doesn't seem to learn from his mistakes because he keeps repeating the same and expecting different results. Quote, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert Einstein. End of quote. Dealing with the teenage years. In regards to the teenage years, know that in these challenging times, you all can keep on repeating the same or use this as an opportunity to break away and through destructive and unhealthy patterns. There is no need to agree or rebel. Just start repeating something different and more positive without criticizing what you see and experience and without any expectations. Quote, the longer we dwell on our misfortunes, the greater is their power to harm us. Voltaire. End of quote. Dealing with getting older. In regards to dealing with getting older, are you still repeating the same mistakes? Realize that your such-called repetitive mistakes are your road signs in your life through which you can check if you are maturing and becoming more wise. For without these road signs, you would not know if you are progressing. Life is all about change, and the routine creating through repetition is against that creative and adventurous life. So change. Quote, your philosophy determines whether you will go for the disciplines or continue the errors. Jim Rohn. End of quote. Dealing with stress. In regards to dealing with stress, are you all the time talking about stress, repeating and making the stress factors even more prominent, but not doing anything about it? The negative effects of stress are due to the repetition of unhealthy habits and going without a break against the natural rhythms of life and nature. Start repeating healthy habits, tune into the rhythms of nature, and stop talking about and blaming everything on stress. Quote, we learn to do something by doing it. There is no other way. John Holt. End of quote. Dealing with weight. In regards to dealing with weight, are you realizing that what you are and who you are today is a result of most likely endless unhealthy repetitions in all aspects of your life? Realize that through repetition of positive and healthy things, or negative and unhealthy ones, you create yourself, and by understanding this fact, just turn the show around. Quote, it takes time to form new habits, but slow and steady wins the race, and practice makes perfect. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. Dealing with disease. In regards to dealing with disease, are you still wanting your old life back? The one that brought you disease? The way you thought, ate, acted, and reacted, is that what brought you where you are today? Why do you want to repeat the same mistakes again? It makes much more sense to start repeating different and more positive things. Quote, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert Einstein. Dealing with emotions. In regards to dealing with emotions, realize that most of your emotions are connected to people, places, and events, and most of them are strong associations which you have created through the ability of repetition. Realize that each emotion is just a one-time experience, even when you link them to people, places, and events, and stop thinking that they are the same, in order to avoid more negative and dominant files and realities. It is the same with positive and pleasant associations of emotions to people, things, and places and events, which you want to have back, and to which you become addicted to as well. All are dominant tapes and realities that's standing in your way. Quote, "It's the repetition of affirmation that leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen." Claude M. Bristol, end of quote. Dealing with business. In regards to dealing with your professional life, are you mainly busy with things related to your business or profession? Realize then, when you are mainly busy with repeating things related to business and profession, that these files will dominate your life and other aspects of your life will consequently suffer and be in the background. In order to get a better balance, just start being busy with those aspects that need more attention. Quote, "We do not have to visit a madhouse to find distorted minds. Our planet is the mental institution of the universe." Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, end of quote. Dealing with destructive habits. In regards to dealing with destructive habits and addictions, know that through the capacity of repetition that you learn skills and subjects, but it is as well through this capacity of your mind that you have conditioned your destructive habits and addictions. The more and longer you repeat something, the stronger and more dominant that habit or addiction will be. Be careful to not replacing one destructive habit with the next. Just keep repeating and creating positive and healthy things. Everything you do is created through repetition, and it is just a matter of perseverance that the new and positive starts pushing the old ones in the background. Quote, "There is nothing like withdrawal from addictive substances to reveal the layers of packaging, false beliefs, and warped perceptions that have slowly encased oneself." Peter Amato, end of quote. Dealing with studying. In regards to studying, know that through the capacity of repetition, you can learn skills and subjects. The more and longer you repeat something, the stronger and more dominant that skill or subject will be. But be careful that these dominant programs do not take over your life, and that life is just about them. Anything you learn to do it with care, because that too will be a part of any dominant programs which you condition through repetition. Even the way you now walk, stand, sit, eat, talk, and think was once a part of the learning process that took place through repetition. Quote, "First, one must understand conditioning. Only then can we speak of choice." Rashid Ugunlaru, end of quote. Dealing with friendships. In regards to friendships, know that when you feel the need to get out of destructive friendships, that you must repeat and train yourself in ways so you want to be around yourself. Once you like to be around yourself, with the qualities you have trained and integrate, automatically different friends with those qualities will show up in your life. Quote, "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance." Oscar Wilde, end of quote. Summary. Parrot. Parrot, the guiding force of repetition. Everything you think, say, and do The way you dress, act, and react, and all your worldly skills are trained and conditioned through repetition. I am Parrot, in charge of the balancing force of repetition. I guide you to learn practical things in this world, but also reminding you that every conditioning, good or bad, in your eyes is created through repetition. So you either learn to repeat positive actions in every aspect of your life, or negative ones, or even using this capacity to condition destructive patterns. Summary. Everything you learn in order to function in this world is achieved through repetition, resulting in the conditioning of skills. The conditioning is useful as a base or platform, but then you must give it its free expression again, which in most cases is not done, and life becomes routine, robot-like, and boring. You also know that all your positive and negative habits, on a physical, mental, and emotional level, are created through repetition and conditioning. In order to change negative, unhealthy, boring conditionings, you need to condition something new. All possible conditionings are within you, either in a dominant or dormant state, and none of them can be deleted. But new conditionings can take over the ones that are not to your benefit. Establish a more positive repetition regarding all aspects of life. In order to stay aware that you use the force of repetition for positive or negative reasons, prepare yourself for the day of how you are going to approach life, others, and situations. And at the end of the day, write down your changes, how you handled things differently by having been exposed to the information about Parrot. Affirmation. In order to get my negative, dominant realities into a dormant state, I need to repeat and create positive ones and wait patiently until they become dominant. Petrus.